Hey, what's up everybody? How are you doing? Welcome to the Nigerian Nomad channel. My name is Bayo Adio, your favorite Nigerian American on YouTube. So for you guys that are new, I mainly talk about my whole journey of like relocating back to Nigeria and just what life is like here and the challenges, the joys, the triumphs, everything that has to do about Nigeria is what I talk about on this channel. So today, I wanted to talk about what's happening in my other country. So I have like two favorite countries, Nigeria and US. But in US, there's a lot going on. If you guys don't know, we have a new president and there's a lot of moving and shaking going on. But one of the main things that's happening is that they are implementing this mass deportation thing that affects anybody that's an illegal immigrant in US. I've been seeing news of them deporting people to Mexico, to India, to like countries everywhere. And Nigeria is also not exempt from that. I think based on what I saw online, who really knows the actual numbers? But it seems like they've identified up to 4,000, maybe like 3,000, high 3,000s of people that are undocumented that has a high chance of being deported back to Nigeria. Now, so what's happening, it's a very, very sad situation. So a lot of people that don't quite have the legal like standing, a lot of people are living in hiding. People from all over the world, like they can't go to work, they cannot go to grocery stores, they can't drive, they can't really do anything because they run the risk of like being stopped and being detained. It's crazy. Some people's kids cannot even go to school. It's a really, really, really tough situation. I've had a few emails as well of people that have reached out to me like just in case, so they're seeking my advice on like how they can transition to Nigeria or if there's any like investment opportunities and all of that stuff. So it prompted me to do this video. So this video is essentially like my own advice and tips that I want to give for people that are in that state. That if you like run the risk, if you're like in this type of situation where you're trying to figure out what to do, I just want to offer my own 2 cents advice for you. All right, let's do it. All right, welcome back. So I'll be referring to my notes here as I'm chatting with you guys. So if you guys see me looking left and right, that's what's happening. So number 1, you have to be prepared mentally and emotionally. Nigeria does not have a lot of like things that are like very like straightforward. So this is like your time to like re-educate yourself on like getting back. But the most important thing that you have to overcome is you have to prepare yourself emotionally and mentally. Some people that have traveled abroad, one of the reasons why they're spending so long and they can't come back quickly is this idea of shame. So like people here expect that you have your life figured out. So when you come back with not much, there's almost this like level of shame that you have to work through. Some people genuinely cannot afford to come back because they don't have any work, they don't have anything. So what they're doing there is how they're how they're like making their living over there. And some of them are not only making their living over there, some of them with the hard work that they're doing, whether they're scrubbing toilets or doing like very like hard jobs to like sustain themselves, they're also using it to sustain their family in Nigeria. So now imagine this person coming back, they don't have their way of living, and the family and people that are dependent on them here that also don't have any way because they've been dependent on them. So you just have to like mentally prepare for like this new journey and be okay with it ahead of time and know how you're going to maneuver all of these things. So it definitely starts with the mental aspect, but also it's important to surround yourself with immediately now with like people that's either in the same shoes as you or other returnees. So family, friends sometimes are not always the greatest supporting cast, especially the ones here, because they don't understand what you're going through over there. So you have to find the ones that have a little bit more understanding, or other people in your shoes, or other returnees like me, just for like emotional support or advice. Just consistently, support system is extremely important. So once you have sorted all of that, then number 2, this is very important. If you can't afford it, most people just don't know their rights, and this happens all over the world. I would highly recommend that you consult with an immigration lawyer. There might be things that, there might be workarounds or things that are exceptional or things that you can like leverage on that you are not personally aware of. So I would recommend definitely doing that for any last legal minutes advice options. It's always very good to be proactive than it just happened to you and now you're stuck. and you don't know what to do from there. So definitely, this is the time to be very, very proactive. I'm not saying that be prepared to leave. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but you definitely have to be prepared for when and if it does happen. So yeah, definitely consult with an immigration person. And then I would also recommend that you live voluntarily. So what that means, a lot of these Western countries, they're very, very, very good at record keeping. So it's better for you to live voluntarily on your own will rather than you be living by deportation, because now you have some sort of deportation on like your passports or in your record. So like anytime you want to like reapply to come back into the country or travel, there's always going to be like this record. But if you left voluntary, it would not be as severe. You can leave and then now like reapply. And in some cases, and I think US, I can predict US getting here. In some cases, they might even offer an accelerated process for you to reintegrate back into the community. And a lot of these things that I'm talking about, this applies to people that have not like engaged in like criminal activities. If you've engaged in any criminal activities, forget that, you're screwed. That one is like immediate. They're like, it seems like that's their highest priority. But I'm talking to the people that are contributing to the society, doing honest work and all of that stuff. So yeah, they might have that. So I would definitely recommend not waiting till like deportation and you voluntarily doing that. If you have something to come back to, if you have the capacity, but we'll talk about that later. And also gather as much, I would recommend, so it seems like when these things happen, it happens suddenly and you can't go back home to like get certain items or get your shoes or do anything like that. Once you're taken, you are being detained or held somewhere in a detention facility. So I'd recommend that this is a good time for you to like organize all of your documents, all your important documents, your birth certificates, your passports, your educational qualifications. Always make sure that you have that ready to go wherever you're going and home, so that when this happens, you have something to grab quickly to take with you. So that's on all like the legal and immigration matter. So now number 3, the big one is the finances. So like obviously no matter where you're living, whether it's there or here, finances is like a big deal. So I would use this opportunity to save as much as you can, reduce your expenses. But also the way this system works in the US, everything is like interconnected. So if you have money in the bank, I wouldn't be surprised if you would not be able to access your bank once they've like detained you. You might not be able to access your ATM. You might just completely get locked out of everything immediately. So I would recommend, if you have some checks, cash them out. If you have some cash, maybe start working on transferring it outside of the country. You just have to do whatever you can to like get your, or keep it with like, transfer it to like a friend's bank account of anybody that's legal. Definitely try to find a way to move your funds out of your own personal account so that you don't get locked out. Because once you get locked out, if you have 20,000 in there and you're here, most likely you might not never get that money. So very, very important for you to like do that. Also, this is, if you haven't, I know a lot of you guys have sent money to Nigeria back and forth, but if you haven't been used to do that, this is your time to educate yourself on how to actually like send funds back home. Definitely create a Nigerian bank account, whether it's a US domiciliary account or a Naira account. Make sure that's created. Make sure that you apply for like your NIN. Make sure your passport is renewed. Try to do as much of all of that stuff as you can now. Again, you want to be like proactive and not reactive, and you want to be prepared for worst case scenario. So that's very, very, very important. Financing is very, very important. I would recommend having a way to communicate. So I think housing, finances, communication, if you can like sort out those 3 things initially, it will give you a smooth transition into coming out here. Now communication, obviously your SIM card would not work, and I would not wait to get to Nigeria to now be looking for SIM cards. There are like other services that you can use. Like for example, I used Google Fi. I will put the link underneath this video. It's a global service that can work worldwide. So you can just sign up for like maybe 3 months. So that way when you come here, it gives you a chance to like make calls, use WhatsApp, do all of that stuff, pending when you get like a local Nigerian SIM card. There's also other services, I think what's called like Sally or something, where you can buy like a digital eSIM that can also give you access to like, as soon as you get to Nigeria, it would convert into that country's local signal and you're able to make calls. So definitely have those 3 things ready to go. Start working on it. Again, all this time that you have, instead of spending it worrying, try to make sure that you are being proactive and setting these things up. And then lastly, I want you to keep an open mind and be resilient. I know it's like you went to look for better opportunities elsewhere and it feels like you're going backwards, but I want you to look at it as like a chance to, don't look at it as a setback, look at it as like a fresh new beginning, an opportunity for you to restart your life and its direction in a way that you didn't, like in a way that you can do even better than what you were doing. Because now you have a little bit of exposure, hopefully you have a little bit of cash set up. It's like, look at it as like a reset and think of it as like better. So I would definitely, and then be flexible, be adaptable. Depending on how long you've left Nigeria, some things are actually quite impressive. Some things are positive. You're gonna be like, wow, Nigerians really tried, or we've like really, it's been a bit more developed. There's a lot of like things that you'd be like, wow, this is quite impressive, especially if you're like in some areas, maybe like Abuja or Lagos or like the developing city areas. You're definitely going to feel that. But then there's also a lot of things that don't quite work well or right. So for those negatives, just try to keep an open mind, try to adapt, and don't look at yourself as a failure. Failure is like, you only fail when you give up. But as long as you're going, you have never failed. Your journey God just might have redirected your journey to somewhere else to guide you to greatness. Maybe where you are at, maybe that's not your path. So maybe your path is to come back here, or your path might even be to come back here temporarily, do what you need to do, and then maybe you reapply and then you can go back there. But just follow your guide and follow your path. So that's my advice for you guys that want to relocate back. But also keep in mind that a lot of people have relocated back willingly and they're doing very well. So use that as a source of inspiration to know that it's possible to actually come back and do well. It's not going to be easy, but with all the tenacity that you've used to go over there, with the level of hard work that you've gained working over there, with the hustle and the way you've been hustling and struggling, just bring that same hard work and mentality over here and you will be just fine. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Send this to anybody. If you're one of these people that are living in fear, I hope this video helps you out. If you have any questions, definitely email us at lightshineinvest@gmail.com, and I'd love to answer any questions that you guys might have. And remember, it's your time to rise and let your light shine. Peace.